Hey, how's it going? This is MJ Bokaj. Back again. As you see, Susua Beach is up and going. Got this all types of families out here enjoying themselves. I just finished my regular walk up and down the beach, and I get a little sprint in. But I wanted to talk about something that's really important regarding the black community, black Americans. So whether you consider yourself foundational black American, or you call yourself American descendant of slaves, your indigenous community or the conscious community, what have you. The movie The Woman King, boycotted by many because of the masculinizing of black women, a continuation of that, as well as feminizing black men. We hear all the time in the media, constant attack on masculinity, saying it's toxic, especially in relation to black masculinity. And then the movie itself was touched on by many. I was reading an article, Slate magazine. It highlights how there's emphasis on the Dahomey tribe, because the Dahomey tribe is what the movie is primarily written about. Agaji is what they were termed as. They historically, correctly in history, played a key role in Africa in the slave trade, working with the Western powers, Britain, etc., America. But that's downplayed and is highlighted their role, but they turn them into heroes, which is inconsistent with the history. That's another reason why different ones boycotted it. So overall, we continue to get these messages from Hollyweird, or the white puppeteers in the entertainment industry, and we need to come to terms with who has an agenda and who is it attacking. It's clear that is attacking the black community, because the black community historically has been strong, whether it was Black Wall Street, whether it was Seneca Village, which is now Central Park in New York, whether it was Belmar, the community in Santa Monica, California, or a little farther up the beach. The first people to establish what is now known as Manhattan Beach was a black indigenous couple, the Bruce family, which many know, with the aid of a governor or a politician, was getting their land back, which was taken through government policy in the 1800s. Bruce Beach, where they were welcoming other black families to come and create business as well as relax. And that would have been another black stronghold. There's hundreds of them throughout the United States. So we see an agenda continuing on through government policy, so much so that they have the RICO laws going after black businesses, many of the rappers, which opens up the door to another issue with regard to entertainment. Is it really a coincidence that the culture of hip-hop was once steered around talking about social issues and partying, and with the emphasis in the last maybe decade or so, decade and a half or what have you, on kill that nigga, which Dave Chappelle called out, says you can say kill that nigga, shoot a nigga, but there's a problem when you talk about maybe a Jewish person, or LGBTQ. I think that was the point. But it highlights how Hollywood could put a restriction on this type of promotion of what I term as gutter culture, which is anything for a bag, or the gang violence or what have you. Not so much reporting on or talking about your life, but promoting it, and the excesses and lavish living and the gaudy jewelry and lifestyle, when you go into certain neighborhoods, it will cause attention, and that's negative, as we just saw what PMB, the artist that was killed. Where is that money going back to? Where is his rights going back to? There are too many artists throughout the year after year, and it's almost as if they're paving the way for non-black artists to maintain their mark in the industry and establish them primarily as the current holders and upholding true hip-hop, as well as giving question to who are the originators. So, you know, we have to start recognizing follow the money. Who is obtaining the rights to these dead artists? You know, who has the veto power or the approval power for certain material or content in movies? Why is it attacking the black community with regard to masculinizing women, the boss chick or independence? You don't need your counterpart to help raise the family, and feminizing men, making them feel guilty, black men, for being masculine, and highlighting femininity with black men. And also the culture that attacks one another in the black community, or renders another valueless because of not attaining certain material successes. This culture can be checked by the puppeteers, the white controllers of the owners of these companies, whether it's Sony, whether it's MGM, or the various record labels and production companies. You know, keep in mind that Afeni Shakur, the mother of Tupac, who was assassinated, her former member of the Black Panthers, the godfather of Tupac, said that before he was executed, he had a conversation with him that said he and Biggie was behind the scenes talking about getting a music distribution company that they would take the lead in. And he warned him that you're crossing the line, because they know the white puppeteers, whether it's the white youths that are involved, would be after them. Now, there's a whole lot to dig through, but it is kind of suspicious that whenever there's a messianic spirit type black male masculinity in men, that these individuals in entertainment are either shunned or in various scandals, or simply come up missing mysteriously. We have to start looking at who is holding the rights and who stands to benefit from that. The black community does not. So, you know, it's going to raise a question who we are, and many in the indigenous community believe there are traces to us being led out of Egypt by Moses. And if you look up yourself, you don't have to believe any of this, but if you look up any of this information, such as the Grand Canyon in Egypt, you might find some information that the United States government is openly hiding, that might give some clues as to why the United States is such a power. I mean, you could look at the back of your US dollar and you see certain symbols, whether it's the Illuminati or the Eye of Ra or the pyramid, and start to see that there are actually connections being made. So why would the white youths in the entertainment industry be concerned with the suspected real people of God? But this is all different ones have to research. You got to make your own decisions. But we need to start calling out who's behind this consistent line of black artists who are being executed who's promoting this culture? Is it simply individuals acting out of jealousy? Or is there how would you say, 6 degrees of association, what have you, that's going to make a link to payments or benefits that different ones have for taking certain key individuals out? It calls into question a number of people, whether it's the big voices in the community that promotes high value men, black masculinity, and puts a lid on the boss chick, a dose of reality, such as Kevin Samuels, or all these things just a coincidence and it's simply not happening to other communities, just ours in America. So, it lends to question, why is there a question about a music genre that perfectly identifies us and our experience here in America, just as the Negro spirituals, through the black church, from which most music comes, because they were rapping back in the 40s online. Whether you take a look at the Jubilaires singing Noah, they were rapping, as well as the group that Elvis probably took pattern after, the Golden Gate Quartet in singing Shadrach. They were rapping, as well as a style that you heard very familiar from the so-called King. Is all of this, in particular with regard to the genre of hip-hop, calling into question who are the real originators, a way to clear the path going historically behind us, because the path looking forward has already been cleared with this consistent conveyor belt of executions of our greatest and most legendary artists? Are all these a coincidence? It's time for us to start thinking about who are controlling things in the entertainment industry, and why there's such a mystery when it comes to law enforcement and the feds not being able to point to a realistic culprit and not simply an act of jealousy. So anyway, I just thought I'd present that. It's a lot of thoughts. You might want to research that. I'm sure you've been thinking of different things, and you might have drawn different conclusions. I like to hear it. This ain't for everybody, but for those who like to look beyond what's on the surface, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, I think I'm gonna go down to the beach and get me a drink.